Item A, call to order. I call this meeting to order. The time is 10 a.m. I ask everyone to please mute your microphones and only turn them on when you speak. Please keep your cameras on and remember to state your name each time you speak so it can be properly recorded. Item B, roll call, certification of quorum and introductions. Now call on Cameron Marshall to conduct the roll call. Cameron, will you also announce whether we have a quorum?
Sure thing, sir. Travis Snyder.
Here, present.
Lloyd Welty.
Here, present.
Colleen Thomas. And presiding officer Lance Thomas.
Here.
We have a quorum, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have new members appointed to the board. I'd like to introduce Lloyd Welty and Travis Snyder. Lloyd or Travis, would either of you like to say a few words?
I'll go. I'm Travis Snyder. Grew up in the auto salvage business from a young age of around 7 or 8 years old. We own Snyder's in Holland and Wrench Apart, which Wrench Apart has 7 different locations in Texas. We've got one in Lubbock, 2 in San Antonio, 2 in Austin, 1 in Belton, and kind of a spin-off of Snyder's there in Holland as well. I'm in charge of, with the Wrench Apart, I'm in charge of selling scrap and commodities, sell those to domestic and international buyers. I'm also in charge of equipment acquisition and do some buying as well. So been in the business for a long time. Graduated from Holland High School and then went to A&M in Corpus Christi after that. Graduated from there in 2002 and then joined the family business right after that. So been in the family business since 2002 and having fun with it.
Awesome. Thanks, Travis. Lloyd?
Yep.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lloyd Welty. I joined the auto recycling after doing 22 years in the military. I retired out of Fort Hood, moved to San Antonio chasing my lovely wife, and ended up working in the auto recycling industry. I started here as the maintenance manager in 2008. 2014, I was promoted to general manager. In 2021, I was promoted to vice president. Been working in this for 17 and a half years now. Kind of like Travis, I'm in charge of selling all of our scrap. And overall operations, we have 65 employees and we have roughly 4,500 cars on our lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Lloyd. And thanks for your service. I know I'll tell you often enough. All right.
Thank you.
Item C, open government training. This time I call on Assistant General Counsel Michael Bostic to present our open government training, which includes the Open Meetings Act, the Administrative Procedure Act, and the Public Information Act.
All right. Good morning, board members. Let me share my screen here and we'll get started with the presentation. All right. Can everyone see that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. So good morning, everyone. My name is Michael Bostic. I'm the Assistant General Counsel assigned to this program, and I'll be conducting your open government training this morning. All right. So the 3 statutes this training covers are the Open Meetings Act, that's Texas Government Code Chapter 551, the Administrative Procedure Act, which is Government Code Chapter 2001, and the Public Information Act, which is Government Code Chapter 552. First up, we have the Open Meetings Act. You'll want to pay special attention to this one since it's the most pertinent to you as an advisory board. The purpose of the act is to ensure open and transparent government. The act applies to governmental bodies like this advisory board and requires public notice of the time, place, and subject matter of the meeting. While local government entities are required to post 72 hours in advance of their meetings, here you're in the big leagues as a state board, and so public notice is required to be posted 7 days in advance of our meeting. All right, so some key concepts of the act here. A quorum means majority. So the Open Meetings Act requires there to be a quorum of members present to take official action as a board. You can meet without having a quorum, but you can't take any official action. Concept 2, deliberation. This one is pretty intuitive. It's what we're going to do here today during the meeting. And 3, meetings. So meetings occur when a quorum of a governmental body deliberates regarding public business or policy over which it has supervision or control. So from a few slides ago, who remembers what we have to do before we have the meeting? We have to publish notice. So the Open Meetings Act requires written notice of the date, time, place, and subject of each meeting held. The TDLR team takes care of posting the notice for the meetings. The important thing that you need to remember is that you may not engage in discussions about a subject that is not included in the posted agenda because that subject has not been properly noticed. If you do engage in that discussion, I'll do my best to jump in and stop you. Just know that if I do interrupt you for that reason, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just looking out for you. All right, so what about social functions or conventions where you may all be in the same place? Is that considered a meeting? So under the Open Meetings Act, a meeting occurs when a quorum of members deliberates on an issue within your jurisdiction, in this case, automotive parts recycling. So remember that the meetings have to be noticed and open to the public. So this doesn't mean that a quorum of you can't talk to each other at a conference lunch table, but it does mean that you can't talk about board business at that lunch table. So how about them Cowboys is fine, but auto parts recycling off limits. The broad takeaway is that if you're outside of a properly noticed meeting and a quorum of you are all chatting, you need to be especially aware of what you're talking about and take care not to violate the act by discussing board business. So this may seem like something that's unlikely to happen because you aren't all together often, but you have to be aware of something called the walking quorum. A walking quorum is when a minority of members engage in discussion about official business and then communicate that discussion to the other members. So while the initial discussion may have been with less than a quorum, that subsequent communication to the other members could then form a quorum and violate the Open Meetings Act. So let's go through an example of that. Let's say on a 5-member advisory board, 2 members exchange phone calls, emails, and research on an issue that's before the board. One member then forwards that exchange to another member. By including that third member, they have now engaged in a walking quorum and violated the Open Meetings Act because they have deliberated on the issue without it being properly noticed and open to the public. So when walking quorums commonly occur, they can commonly happen during conference calls, video conferences, hallway discussions, email chains, text messages, and now you have to be especially aware of online comment sections on apps like Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where you could all potentially be posting in a comment thread and you could potentially form a walking quorum. Our best practices here to avoid walking quorums: don't discuss board business in small groups and then share that with other members. Don't send emails or text messages to a quorum of members about board business, even if each message is sent to each member individually. Don't create posts on social media about board business, and don't ask the board members for feedback on board business outside of the public meeting. This is called polling, and it becomes a walking quorum as soon as one member tells the other members how the rest of the board is going to vote, because now you're deliberating. All right, so guidelines for our meeting today. Remember that you're limited to discussing what's on the agenda because that's what's been properly noticed. If you go beyond that, I'll do my best to jump in to guide us back on the path, but ultimately it's your responsibility. If there are any public comments today, which I don't think there are, the chair may set reasonable limits on commenters. Members of the public may raise a subject that is not on the agenda. However, any board discussion on the subject must be limited to proposing that topic for a future meeting because it has to be noticed. Best practices for our meeting today. So limit the discussion to the specific agenda items. Avoid wandering off into other subjects that have not been noticed. Don't respond to subjects raised by members of the public unless they're on the agenda. And if you want something on a future agenda, please tell TDLR staff and we'll make that happen for our next meeting. Okay, so now the bad stuff. I've told you what not to do, so here's what could happen if you do it anyway. First, we have civil penalties. Any interested person has standing to file a lawsuit to stop actions taken in violation of the Open Meetings Act. Also, if it's determined after the fact that an action was taken in violation of the act, that action is voidable. And we all work really hard, so let's do our best to not void anything we do. Criminal penalties. So criminal penalties for violating the act range from a Class C misdemeanor up to the penalty you see here, depending on the violation. Those penalties are found in Texas Government Code sections 551.143 through 146, but hopefully you'll never need to look at those. So if you remember any part of the presentation today, remember these two things. One, avoid communications that involve a quorum of members outside official business, outside of a properly noticed meeting. And two, during the meetings, stick to the topics on the agenda. Here are some additional resources if you want to do some light reading about the Open Meetings Act, and also you can give General Counsel's office a call anytime if you have questions. All right, so we're a third of the way through here. Next, we have the Administrative Procedure Act, or APA. The APA governs how state agencies make our rules that implement the laws passed by the legislature and other policy. So it provides the minimum standards of practice for state agencies and public participation in the rulemaking process. So what is a rule? The APA defines a rule as a general statement from an agency that implements or interprets law and policy. A rule can also be a general statement that describes the procedural requirements of the agency. So generally speaking, you can think of a rule as what you have to do and how you have to do it. Statements regarding internal matters of the agency that don't affect private rights are not considered rules. However, any change, repeal, or amendment to existing rules is considered a rule under the APA. The sources for rulemaking, they can be legislative changes to the underlying law. They can come from advisory boards such as yourself, TDLR staff, our 4-year rule review process, or rule petitions. So rule petitions, the APA allows interested persons to petition TDLR to make rules. Interested persons are anyone who's a Texas resident, a business entity located in Texas, governmental subdivision in Texas, or a public or private organization that is not a state agency but is located in Texas. Now for the rulemaking process. So this is an overview of the rulemaking process from start to finish. Note that this is the process that TDLR uses and other agencies may differ slightly, although some of these steps are required by statute. Also, in the case of rules that are implementing bills from the legislature, we may vary from this structure as allowed by the APA to meet statutory deadlines. So just to run through this really quickly with you, we've got our internal rule idea and drafting, and we'll do our internal review and analysis. After that, we send the rules off to the governor's office for review. Following that, then you will see them, our first advisory board meeting. After that, then the proposed rules are filed and published in the Texas Register, where they're then open for public comment for a 30-day public comment period. We take the comments that we receive, review those, prepare our responses to those, and then we'll present those to you at a second advisory board meeting where we may need to make changes to the rules based on those. Following that, the rules are presented at the commission meeting for adoption by the commission. After adoption by the commission, the adoption notice is filed and published in the Texas Register, and the rules become effective after that period. So the rule review process, this is required by the APA, Every 4 years, we have to evaluate each rule set to make sure that the rules are still necessary and essential to achieve their goal. The next rule review for this program will be in 2027. And here are the resources for the APA. And all right, last but not least, we have the Public Information or Open Records Act. The PIA is intended to allow public access to information about the affairs of government and public officials. It makes all documents and records relating to official business open to the public with certain exceptions. Public information includes electronic communication that exists on any device if it is connected with official agency business. The Act is always construed liberally in favor of granting requests for information. So what does this mean for you as an advisory board? If you receive a written request for records that looks like a public information request, you need to forward that to Office of General Counsel immediately. You don't ask the requester why, just go ahead and forward it straight to us. If you receive a request from the General Counsel Open Records team, please respond to that request immediately. The time that we have to respond and handle these requests is very short, so it's important that we act on them quickly. The general rule is that information is usually subject to disclosure. However, some information must be redacted. This includes things like date of birth, email addresses, and other sensitive information. And here are the resources for the Public Information Act. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. And I guess it's okay to ask, and you are replacing Stephen Leary on the advisory board?
Yes, sir, that's correct. Stephen's still with the department, but he's moved on to some other programs. And so I'm happy to be taking over for him.
Awesome. Well, excited to have you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving on to item D, approval of minutes for the meeting on March the 6th, 2025. Board members, do you have any comments regarding the minutes of the March 6th, 2025 meeting? If there are no comments, or any comments for that meeting? If there are no comments, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. Once we have a motion and a second, I'll call on Carmen to conduct the roll call vote. And Carmen will announce whether the motion passes. That'd be Lloyd and Travis.
I motion that we approve, this is Travis, I motion that we approve the minutes from March 6, 2025.
This is Lloyd Welty. I second that motion.
Carmen, do we have, does the motion pass? You're on mute.
I can do a roll call now.
Okay.
Travis Snyder,
Yes.
Lloyd Welty,
Oh,
Yes.
and Presiding Officer Lance Thomas.
yes.
Motion passes.
Sorry, I skipped over you there. All right, moving on to item E, public comment. Any person wishing to address the board must submit an email following the public comment. Instructions found on the last page of this agenda or at www.tdlr.texas.gov. Emails must be submitted to board.comments@tdlr.texas.gov by 12 p.m. on Monday, December 8th, 2025, Central Standard Time. TDLR offices are not open for in-person public comment. The used auto parts recycling advisory board did not receive any requests for public comment for today's meeting. Item F, staff reports, briefing from staff and discussion. Number one, licensing division. I call on Laura Hernandez, licensing manager, to provide her report, including statistics and current projects.
Good morning, board members. My name is Laura Hernandez. I'm one of the managers in the licensing division. My team handles the used auto parts recycler business applications and renewals. In my report, I presented the statistics for fiscal year 2024 and 2025, and also listed information regarding a current project that the agency is working on for a new licensing system. I am happy to answer any questions that you may have on my report.
Awesome. Thank you, Laura. And that's all from you, Laura? Sorry.
Yes, yes, that represents the report I submitted.
Okay, thank you. Number 2, Customer Service Division, call on Patricia Martinez Castellan, Customer Service Manager, to present the statistics.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, advisory board members. I'm Patricia Martinez Castellan, the customer service manager, and I'll be sharing our statistic report for fiscal years 2025 and 2026 for the used automotive parts recyclers program. During FY25, the program received a total of 760 customer contacts. That's between 48 to 94 contacts per month. The majority of these interactions were handled by phone with minimal email volume throughout the year. Contact volume remained steady with highest activity occurring in September and October. As we got into fiscal years 2026, customer activity remains consistent. In September, we recorded 72 total contacts, and in October, it's 76, with nearly all inquiries continuing to be handled by phone. That concludes the customer service report, if anybody has any questions.
Thank you, Patricia. Item number 3, Enforcement Division, call on Michael Jackson, Prosecutor, to present statistics and case highlights.
Good morning, board members. My name is Michael Jackson. I am a prosecutor, for the Enforcement Division on the Transportation team. I'll be presenting the Enforcement Division report for you today. I'll be covering key statistics and case highlights. The report compares fiscal year 2024, which runs from September 1st, 2023 to August 31st, 2024, and fiscal year 2025, which ran from September 1st, 2024 to August 31st, 2025. The statistics compare the used automotive parts recycling program with all programs that TDLR administers. At the very top of page 1, you have the division's performance measures. You'll notice that more than double the number of cases have been opened in fiscal year 2025, 87, compared to fiscal year 2024, 37 cases. The number of complaints closed has almost doubled between fiscal year 2024, 44, and fiscal year 2025, 76. The next section, middle of page 1, is the criminal history review for applicants who may have disqualifying criminal history. As you can see, the number of applications that are reviewed by enforcement has remained steady between fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2025. While there has not been an increase in the denials after criminal history review between fiscal year 2024, there were 0 denials, and fiscal year 2025, once again, 0 denials. The next section at the bottom of page 1 details where the enforcement division's complaints come from, whether they are from consumers or from within the agency. The used automotive parts recyclers complaints for both fiscal year 2024 and fiscal year 2025 were closely split between consumers and from within the agency. Now at the top of page 2, this is put into a pie graph for you based on the number of cases opened from the complaints received just above. In the middle of page 2, the orders issued section had an increase in agreed orders issued between fiscal year 2024, 1, and fiscal year 2025, 5 agreed orders issued. And the total orders increased from 2 in fiscal year 2024 to 6 in fiscal year 2025. This shows the overall goal of seeking compliance from licensees. On the top of page 3, you can see the breakdown of cases closed without disciplinary action. Then dropping down to the middle of page 3, we list the violations at intake, complaint opening, and then violations resulting in disciplinary action. Finally, on page 4, we have 2 case highlights from fiscal year 2025 as they relate to the used automotive parts recycling program. This concludes the Enforcement Division's report. I am available to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. All right, number 4, Compliance Division, call on Morgan Dreyer, Consumer Protection Multi-Program Specialist, to present current projects, outreach, and personnel updates.
I just want to thank the chair and board for your guys' time today. I am Morgan Dreyer, the multi-program specialist for the compliance division, like was said. And for my report today, for current projects, we are updating some of the forms on our website, in particular, the inventory of component parts purchased. We see that it's been outdated and some of the information needs to be brought in line with other forms and standardization. As we continue forward, we're going to be continuing on this effort to look at different forms that will help the program and the licensees of the program. We're also currently working on a website review, as was previously shown in licensing's report. We are doing a new licensing system, and with that, we want to provide as much information on our website and get it ready and prepped for when those things happen. And so we want to make sure there's clear guidance and guidelines set forth on our website, and that will be a project that we continue. For outreach so far this year, since I've begun on this program, we were able to participate in a meeting conference. We were able to present new rules set forth, and we were able to participate in the conference itself and hear from licensees and board members of the conference. We also were able to go to site visits, both big and small mom and pop shops, to see the different kinds of ways in which the used auto part recyclers work and how they are able to keep in compliance with different processes. We're also able to hear from our licensees day-to-day processes. And then for personnel reports, like was said, I am the new liaison for used auto part recyclers for the compliance division, and I have provided my email on screen. And that is the end of my report, and I am available for any questions.
Morgan, thanks so much again for y'all coming to the trade show. It was great to meet you, and we're excited to have you on our side. I guess one question I have is for the component part discussions, is that something that the department will handle in-house, or is that open for like a work group type deal, or no?
Are you referring to the form that I'm updating? Or
correct.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah, for the form and just, I mean, I don't know if it will discuss any change of requirements or anything for that. It just, I know myself, Travis and Lloyd are all self-serve. It's a little different than full serve on how, those component parts and stuff get handled during transactions. But it would be, if you're updating forms, it might be worth a conversation.
Yeah, I will say I'm a little new to knowing how work groups are set up and everything, but if that's something that's possible, I would, yeah, I was like, let's just learn this together. But yeah, I would love to get your guys' perspective. I definitely want to at least have something out there for you guys, but definitely looking for actually how to make it easier and accessible to everybody. And so I think a work group would be great for something like this, both for the different kinds of used auto part recyclers that we have.
Yeah. Carmen, is that something that we can table for a work group or?
When we get to that agenda item, we can talk about it.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
All right, thanks, Morgan. Number 5, Field Inspections Division. I call on Chris Russi, the Director of Field Inspections, to present statistics and current projects.
Good morning, Chairman Thomas and advisory board members. My name is Chris Russi. I'm the Director of the Field Inspections Division. As you'll see here, we have the statistics for inspections conducted at used auto parts recyclers for fiscal year 2024 compared with 2025. As you see at the end of the fiscal year, they ended up being very similar, just slightly fewer in fiscal year 2025. Below that, were current projects. So we are still working with the Motor Vehicle Crime Prevention Authority with implementing Senate Bill 244 from 2 legislative sessions ago, actually. Part of this partnership, we are spending more time tracking some of our involvement with used auto part recycler inspections. So as you see for the total hours, the total miles driven, the total catalytic converters inspected, and then an estimated total number of catalytic converters. So to just kind of explain these statistics a little more, whenever my team goes on site to conduct these inspections, they do get an overall estimate of the number of catalytic converters on site, and then they will do a sampling of those to inspect and see the different required documentations that's required by these new rules, such as, you know, who they sold them to, so on and so forth. Obviously, if a place has 2,000 catalytic converters, they're not going to inspect 2,000. But they do take a sampling based off the overall sum. I am happy to answer any additional questions y'all may have.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Number 6, agency update. Call on Brandy Myers, Chief Financial Officer, to provide an informational update on agency operations, staffing, and legislative activity relevant to this program.
Good morning, board members and chairman. My name is Brandy Myers. I am the Chief Financial Officer for TDLR, and I've got some highlights and updates for you as they relate to the agency. First, for fiscal year 25, TDLR now serves over 1 million licensees for the state of Texas. We are a big agency. We continue to grow with the growth in the state of Texas. And it's also a testament to the staff that we have for getting that many people, places, and things licensed. So over 1 million. Also in fiscal year 25, the agency fielded more than 12,000 consumer complaints and conducted more than 7,000 investigations, all resulting in more than $800,000 in consumer restitution. So enforcement teams, investigations, inspections, they are taking names and doing a great job with protecting Texans. As far as the legislature is concerned, the 89th legislature brought some organizational changes to TDLR with the addition of the Texas Lottery and charitable bingo programs. Those programs will now be administered by TDLR, and a dedicated transition team is helping to incorporate those into our agency. They were effectively transferred on September 1st, and all is going well. They are a big agency and they generate a lot of money as far as the lottery is concerned. And of that, the Texas Lottery successfully generated $1.8 billion for the state of Texas in fiscal year 25 from a $7.91 billion in total sales. And this strong financial contribution comes despite significant market challenges and new consumer protection measures that were incorporated with Senate Bill 3070. But the vast majority of the lottery's revenue is dedicated to supporting essential state services. Public education received $1.77 billion, which was contributed to the Foundation School Fund, which supports Texas public schools, including teacher salaries and school operations. Having a veteran on this board, I'm excited to announce that We also, with the lottery funding, support our Texas veterans, and a record 31.1 million was provided to the Fund for Veterans Assistance to support grants for organizations that serve our Texas veterans and their families. So the lottery money is going to some great causes in the state of Texas. We also had Senate Bill 1036, which created a new program at TDLR, and it's the regulation of residential solar retailers, which will begin implementation in 2026. As a result of that, TDLR now oversees 42 programs. So, still growing. We also had House Bill 4215, which created the regulation of delivery network companies. So TDLR is moving and grooving. Thank you for being a part of that. And if I'm available to answer any questions, should you have them. Mr. Thomas, I think you're muted, sir. I know you were saying something brilliant.
Sorry, I was just saying I really need to win that lotto, but thank you for that. Item G, appointment and reappointment of work groups and possible assignment of tasks. We need to assign board members to both enforcement work group and rules work group. Carmen will capture the name of those who wish to be appointed to the enforcement work group. And now call on Assistant General Counsel Michael Bostic to explain the rules work group. After his explanation, Carmen will capture which members would like to be appointed to that work group.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Michael Bostic, Assistant General Counsel here. Yeah, so essentially the work groups are just a way for us to meet informally with you. Specifically, the rules work group is how we will get your input on potentially on needed rule changes. And so enforcement, again, is for things like the penalty matrix or conviction guidelines. So yeah, we just need to know who wants to be on what group.
And Carmen, I can't participate in any of these groups. Is that correct, or?
Go ahead, Michael.
You can.
Okay. Are you limited to one or the other, or can you?
You can do all of them if you want.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to be on both if possible. And how many people can be on a work group?
2.
Okay. Lloyd and Travis, would y'all like to join me on one of or other work groups?
This is Travis. I'll throw my hat in there on the rules group.
Okay.
Okay, so
Lloyd,
I've
you're
got-
muted.
I'll go on the enforcement side, since it's a
Lloyd?
max of 2 people, right?
yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, Carmen, that changed it up a little bit, but
It's okay. We have Colleen Thomas and Travis for the rules work group.
since Colleen is not on, can I take her spot on the rules?
You can.
Yeah, let's do that. And
Okay.
then I'll be on there with Lloyd on the enforcement.
It sounded like you guys wanted to do like the forms with like a compliance kind of deal. Michael, could we rope that into rules or no?
I mean, I believe that the form process is part of carrying out the rules essentially. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, because I think both could be discussed for the rules and the form.
Okay, sir.
So the topic, this is Travis, the topic on that was like component parts, as I remember. Is that correct? On the forms that we're talking about?
Yes, on that portion, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've got some experience with that, doing rebuilders and then also selling parts as well. So
And also the work groups can address topics as they come up too. You don't have to necessarily propose them in this public meeting before the work group addresses them.
Oh, great.
So
Okay.
the work groups are a little bit more nimble. So I think right now we have something to talk about for catalytic converters and a discussion, this component part discussion. And so I think the rules work group can address both those topics.
Yeah. And then on the enforcement work group, which I guess it kind of applies to the catalytic converters, but also would like to discuss some, like, I don't know if I guess that would be under civil penalties for like illegal operations.
That is something I think that would fit under the enforcement work group. If it depends on what you like, and so maybe we can, or what you want. So maybe we can talk about that more
Okay.
offline. But essentially, if you want to change to the current rules, then we'll put that in the rules work group. If the discussion is more about how we need to address this, within the enforcement division, then I think we'll put it there.
I guess
But-
it would have to be in the rules then, because it really is not able to be addressed well currently in the current enforcement.
I think that would fit under the rules, but the work groups are pretty flexible, and like I say, they are informal, so we can easily switch it around if we need to.
Okay. And then, yeah, Lloyd and Travis, in the meantime, if you have other topics or anything you'd like to discuss within that work group, we can put that on the discussion for that. Alrighty, I guess on to item H, recommendations for agenda items for the next board meeting. Anybody?
We're gonna bring up the catalytic converter, or will that be down the line?
I think that got tabled to the work group.
Okay.
And if
Alright.
you think of anything later, y'all can email me.
Okay. All right. As always, board members may email Carmen with any additional suggestions after the meeting. Moving on to item I, discussion of date, time, and location to the next board meeting. Want to inform the board that Carmen will poll the board at a later time to determine the date, time, and location of our next meeting. And then item J, if there's no further business, this meeting of the used automotive parts recycling